I'm going to be showing you how to elevate your makeup application. This is honestly going to change the makeup game for you because there are so many little tips and tricks in here that are really going to help you to look super natural, but it just looks so much better. Like everything looks like second skin and it just looks good. So I can't wait to share these with you, so stay tuned. So we all have a certain way that we apply our makeup, and I really want to share with you today some tips that basically are going to help you to completely elevate your makeup game. They're just things that you can incorporate into your makeup, or you probably already do them, but it's just a subtle change here and there, like here and then, here and there. So there are little things that you can do that will genuinely just really up your makeup game. Like honestly, your makeup is going to look so much better. So I'm going to go through each one with you as we are doing the makeup. So I don't have any makeup on, as you can see. I've got my skincare on, I've got a bit of primer on, and we're going to go straight in with the first product. We're going to be applying our concealer first. Now for those of you who already apply your concealer first and foundation after, which is basically called underpainting, you already know the benefits of this, but I'm not here to basically sell you the whole underpainting technique if you don't do it that way. What I'm trying to say is that if you apply your concealer first or after your foundation, this is the way that you should apply it. So this is the first step that you can take to elevate your makeup game. Don't just apply your foundation where you need it, apply it in strategic areas to help to lift that area. Honestly, even if you're thinking, I don't need a lift, I'm fine, do it anyway, because trust me, you're gonna notice the difference. So I'm gonna show you exactly where I would place it to really help just, I think I'm gonna say elevate. God knows how many times during this video, but you know what I'm saying. So here we go. I'm using my Huda Beauty Faux Filter Concealer. My shade is Sugar Biscuit 3.5N, and we're gonna get started. First thing I'm gonna do is apply it just to this corner here. So what you wanna do is make sure that you go from the outer corner and do a little dash on each side, and it goes upwards. That's really gonna help to lift the area. And then also, obviously, wherever you feel that you need it, on your under eye area. Now I typically apply it here because I think that helps to cover up that area. You can obviously apply less. You apply however much you feel that you need or that you're happy with. This is what I'm happy with. Next area is just here, and this is where I'm gonna go upwards again. You've got to remember that the angles here are all going in the same direction, so it really does help to give you that nice lift to your face. Now I've got my sponge, and this is where I'm just gonna press it in. My sponge is damp, by the way. This is my beauty blender. And I am just gonna press it in. And it's such a subtle change, but it's enough that it really does make a difference at the end. So you can still see that slight shadow of lightness, not shadow, but that slight lightness kind of like going upwards. So this area here is really to kind of like help to cover up the dark circles. As you can see, we've lifted certain areas and we've covered up whatever areas we needed to. Now, next step is we're gonna go in with the foundation. This is my Haus Labs foundation in 300 medium neutral, and I am just gonna grab my sponge. And I've got some on the back of my hand here, and I'm just gonna smooth it over the sponge. And this is where I'm gonna go over lightly. There's hardly any foundation there, by the way. I'm gonna go over lightly all over my face. And my foundation is a lot warmer than my concealer. So we're gonna go over this area that we've applied concealer. And you're gonna see that the concealer just looks a lot more kind of diffused. It doesn't look so bright. Now we still haven't applied any concealer to the eyelids, but I'm going to show you something that's going to really help you, because obviously you see most of my videos where I apply concealer on my eyelids and then I carry on. You can do it that way, but this is just another way that I'm going to show you today. I'm obviously used to applying concealer on my eyelids before I start anything on my face. But the reason I'm doing it the other way around today is because I really want to show you that if you feel that maybe you've applied a little bit too much, because if you're not used to makeup and you know, you don't do it, like for me, it's my job, then it can be easy to go a little bit heavy-handed with it on your eyelid. So what I want to show you is something that's just going to completely make it so much easier. Now, whatever's left on your sponge, you're now going to go over your eyelids. So this is where you're not applying any extra product, and it's literally just going to be a really, really thin layer. See that? How we've got that on the eyelid now? And that way you know that you're not going crazy with how much you've applied on your eyelids. Okay, so now we're done there. We really want to move on to the next kind of like step that we can do to really help to elevate the makeup. This is a really, really cool thing that I want to show you, because I just feel like it's something that really does take your makeup up a notch. Like, it just is such a pretty kind of thing that you can do, and you don't have to worry about it creasing or anything like that. So this is what it is. We've got our concealer on, right? We haven't set it yet. We're not going to set it yet, and I'm going to show you why. We're just going to make sure we've got no creases there, because obviously the more you kind of like blink and stuff, the more creases you're going to get there. We're going to apply a liquid blush to the eye. I'm going to use the Huda Beauty no, it's not faux. It's a Huda Beauty blush filter in Strawberry Cream. And I've got a little bit on. Actually, I'm not going to put it on the back of my hand. I'm just going to do a little dot here. Just 2 little dots there. I've got my Refa 13 brush. And all I'm going to do is basically blend this in. And don't forget, I don't have any powder on. This is over my concealer. And the reason this is so great is because it basically mixes in with your concealer a bit so that it doesn't look so bright. It's just like literally a wash of colour. And I just feel like it doesn't even look like you've got too many extra products on your skin. How amazing is that? Not only that, we're going to set this in a bit. So before I do that, I'm just going to go ahead and apply the same amount on the other side. You're literally just kind of like going back and forth over the eyelid, not too high. Go into the crease. It's the easiest blending you will ever do. It's so easy. Use your finger if you want to kind of like drag it out. Watch till the end, right? Because basically what's going to happen is everything's going to look so kind of like melted into the skin. And I just feel like you don't have that. I've just put a little bit of that on the back of my hand, by the way. You don't feel that you've got so much makeup on. It doesn't look like it. And it genuinely does kind of just improve your whole makeup look. I've got some on the brush again, and I'm going to go just kind of onto the lower lashes, and we're just taking it out just so that it's a really nice kind of like eye look. Now, if you feel that you've gone a little bit too far with this, you can always go in with your sponge and kind of like, you know, just go over areas that you feel like maybe you want to tone down. Now what we want to do is we want to actually go into a blush, a powder blush. This is my Sigma E27 brush. I'm going to go into my Guerlain Terracotta blush in light coral, right? And I'm not going to take too much of this, but I've got some on the brush. And I'm just going to go over this kind of like colour. I'm not going over the whole lid. I'm just going over where I've applied the eyeshadow. And you'll see all of a sudden it just brings it to life. And it's not going to crease. But there is one last thing we're going to do here, which is really going to kind of like seal the deal. Firstly, that's giving it that extra pop of color, and I still feel like it's muted. It's not like in your face. Right, we're going to go into our setting powder now. This is my Makeup Forever Ultra HD powder in light banana. I've got my Real Techniques brush, dipping it into the powder, and this is where we are now just going to go over the whole lid. You know when you see people with that makeup look and you're like, she's got eyeshadow on, somehow she's got color on her lids, but I can't see the powder, I can't see the cream, it just looks like it's part of her skin. Well, this is how you do that. And if you want to, by the way, you don't have to use the powder blush on top of the liquid blush on your eyes. You can just go straight in with the translucent powder. All this is going to do is set it and kind of like seal it. Because of the textures that you've used, it doesn't look like you've got crazy eyeshadow on. It looks so kind of like very just like a wash of color, and it doesn't look like you've actually put any makeup on top. It almost looks like it's just from within your skin. Next step is we're going to make sure that we don't have any creases under here. We're going to get rid of these creases, and then we are going to powder the under eyes. So we're just powdering wherever we want to, so it's up to you, but I would always recommend at least the center of the face, like all the way down. I'm in the meantime going to very quickly add some Urban Decay Slick Day to my brows, because this really does help to just keep them in place. As you can see, we've got like a really nice base, a lovely, like really light transparent wash of color on the lids, which does not look, it literally just looks like skin, honestly. I wish you could just be face to face so you could see just how skin-like the finish is on my eyelids. It does not, it's not gonna crease. It doesn't look like you've actually applied, it's weird because you've obviously got color there, but it doesn't look like you've actually applied makeup. It just looks like it's your skin. It looks so natural. So that's a really, really good way to kind of just elevate your makeup game and just be clever about the texture that you're using and understand the textures and how to blend them and how to set them and how to make it look like it's actually your skin and not a whole layer of makeup on top. Now, while we're waiting for the brows to dry, I am going to add a little bit of bronzer. I've got my Hourglass Veil brush, and oh yeah, forgot to tell you, this is my YSL All Hours Hyper Bronze in 04, and I'm going to go from the middle of the ear, and I'm just pressing, and I don't want this to be super, super bronze, but the trick is here to always pat on the back of your hand or a tissue to really get the excess product off. And you want a really kind of like nice shadow. You don't want a whole load. I prefer to use bronzer. You can obviously use a contour if you want to, or use a cool tone bronzer, but I feel like that is enough. I don't want it to look like I've got a crazy amount. I also don't want the bronzer to kind of like overshadow my whole look, so I'm just going along the perimeter of the face. This is just going to help to warm up the face but also slim it a little bit. I would say the trick here, honestly, like I've already mentioned, like look at that, that's very flat, and then we've got some dimension here and it just looks a lot warmer, a little bit sculpted but not overly sculpted. The trick here is you've really got to, if you don't want to use your hand, get a tissue, just keep a tissue flat on the table, and that genuinely is going to improve your application, improve the way that your makeup looks. Dip it into here and then dip it straight onto the tissue to take all the excess off. I can't begin to tell you how much that helps. It is a massive difference in how the makeup looks on your skin. So I know these may seem like small things, but honestly, they make all the difference. You just want to go around the face wherever you feel that it's looking a little bit kind of flat, and you want to add a bit of shape in the natural areas, the natural curves of the face. I am getting my Fenty 200 brush and I'm just going to go along the sides of the bridge of the nose. And I did the same thing, by the way. I really took the excess off the brush. Okay, so let's do the brows now very quickly. I've got my Urban Decay Brow Blade in Brunette Betty, and I'm using the pen side of it first. And I'm just gonna basically draw in some kind of hair strokes. Has to be one of the best brow pens I've used. This is very, I think this is on par with my Lime Crime pen that I love. When it comes to your brows, how are you gonna elevate them? How are you gonna make them look good? How are you gonna make them look not overdone? We've all heard about this eyebrow blindness, right? I think I had that very recently where I didn't realize how thick I was making them, and I looked at pictures and I was like, what is going on there? So it was crazy, but I'm like so attentive now, so attentive now. So the trick here To really elevate your brows, what I would suggest, this is if you like having that nice feather stroke, you like replicating the hairs, right? And you don't want it to look like they're block brows. Get your pen, your eyebrow pen that you're using. You want to replicate the hairs, but what you want to do is you want to actually do it all the way across without any pencil first, because that way it's going to avoid you having to use more pencil. So what we're doing is we're actually doing, normally I would have only done this at the front of the brow, but the way that you really kind of take this up a notch is you do it all the way to the end. And you're almost shaping your brow at the same time. So you can see we've kind of like drawn it all the way across. Now before I go in with the pencil, I'm going to go to the other side. So now I know that there's a very minimal area that I need to apply the pencil. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing here. Okay, so we're going to take the pencil side now, and this is where we're going to very lightly, very, very lightly, kind of like almost sharpen the line at the bottom. But it's so subtle. And any areas that you feel like, you know, the pen really didn't kind of fill it in enough. Okay, I'm happy with that. And we're going to do this side. So we don't have brows like that are completely screaming, I have brow product on. But at the same time, it's enough that it can make you look like you have brows, because obviously I have sparse brows. So it's always gonna look a little bit more than like a natural brow. The next step is something super simple, but I feel like a lot of people actually don't do it. And it is to curl your lashes, because this is something that really does help to completely change the way your mascara looks online. Online? I mean, like, just generally on. But the next step is what really does help to kind of like push it a little bit. So now that we've curled the lashes, we're gonna go in with a brown eye pencil, and I'm gonna show you what we're gonna do. It's really subtle, but it makes an amazing difference that doesn't look like you've actually like done anything major. Okay, you want to take a brush which is small enough to be able to like blend. It's like a small pencil brush. I'm using the Refa 03 brush. So what I'm going to do here is, the reason I do this with the eyelashes curled is because it actually gives you a bit of a lift, so you can tell how it's going to look with mascara, as opposed to like when you don't curl your lashes and you apply the pencil. It's really difficult to see what you're going to actually see, because you end up going a little bit thicker, weirdly, right? So now that I've got my lashes curled, I am just going to literally do a little dot, little line, just really close to my lashes, but just on the last quarter of my eye. There. We're going to get that brush, we're going to buff into the lash, and then right at the end of the lash line, we are gonna just kind of like flick upwards towards the temple. Can you see that super faint, kind of like, it's just super faint. It doesn't even look like you've got actually like any kind of like pencil on, but it's just so subtle. Look at the difference here. This is what I'm trying to say. This is like honestly such a game changer for your makeup. Normal, right? Here, look how subtle that is. And even if you were to zoom in or like really go close up, you're not going to see any pencil. It just looks so subtle, and it is honestly such a really nice way to elevate your makeup without it looking crazy and cakey. So we're going to do the same thing on the other side. We're going really close to the lash line. We're going to take this brush, we're going to flick in towards the lash line, and then drag upwards to like flick it up. It's so faint, but it's so effective. Honestly, I love this whole technique. I just feel like it's just so easy to do. Now, this is where we want to apply a mascara. I'm going to use my Kush mascara, because I just feel like this is milk makeup. It's just not crazy clumpy. And it's a really good day-to-day mascara. Obviously, when you start doing your makeup and you kind of like change the way you do it to what I'm showing you today, you're gonna get quicker and quicker at it. I'm really slowing it down to really make it kind of like easy to understand. But this is like, these are little tricks that as a makeup artist, like we use to really make someone look ultra like natural, in the sense that it doesn't look like she's got a whole load of makeup on, but it really does elevate your whole makeup game. It's actually unbelievable how this whole eyeshadow look looks so natural on. I mean, who would have thought wearing colour on your eyelids is going to be so natural and so easy to do and just looks like second skin. So next up, what we're going to do is do the lips. And this is like something that I absolutely love. Use a lip pencil which is so close to your skin colour. Not skin colour, lip colour. And my one, I would say that's really close to my lip colour is the Rare Beauty Kind Words Matte Lip Liner in Talented. It's like so close that it may even look like you're not even wearing any, but I want you to trust me. This is an amazing little kind of like way to make your lips look bigger, plumper, but not like you've got a whole load of product on your lips. So you want to get something which is a bit waxy. So this is more of a waxy pencil. The other brand that's a really good waxy pencil is Charlotte Tilbury. But I don't have a color from them that I would say is kind of like flesh, like lip color for me. This I'd say is as close as I have found, where it actually does make my lips look plumper, but it doesn't, it's not like darker than my lip. And the great thing is you can literally do this in the dark. Not that you should ever have to, but you know, it just looks like your lip color. So then what I'm going to do is add a lip balm. Now you want to get a tinted lip balm. This is something that honestly I feel is like so subtle. Look, you know, you've heard of that whole saying of like less is more, right? When you are a pro makeup artist, that kind of like saying is kind of true but kind of not true, because at the same time less is more is like, people don't realize it actually takes makeup to make it look less, if that makes sense. It's really about being strategic and clever with your makeup, and that's what I'm showing you today. So what I'm using is a new lip balm that I've been using, which I absolutely love. This is by Nina Ubhi Project, and it's available at Sephora, and links are in my description. And these are great because they're SPF lip balms, and they have color in them, and they're really kind of like buttery and good for your lips, and they're really smoothing, but at the same time they're protecting your lips. So the one that I'm going to be using, they have all different shades. This is just pink, and you'll see it's just like a super nice color. I always blot. It's pretty crazy, right? That I don't even have like, the lip liner is so natural. You've really got to find a lip color, like a lip pencil that matches your lip color, like your lip color. And the way to do that is when you're out and about and you're shopping, don't just put it on, like put it on your hand, but if it looks like it's just kind of like you can't see it, like people have this misconception that for a good lip liner it's got to be darker than your lip because you have to be able to see it. But ultimately, if you want something to look natural, you really want it to be as close as possible to your lip color. If you can't find that, then I would suggest kind of like using lipsticks and mixing them together to get the right shade, and almost like use that kind of like, because you don't always have to have a lip liner. Ultimately, a lip liner is there to really kind of make your lips kind of defined, but also to stop the lipstick kind of like spreading out as well. But if you don't have that problem, then you could probably create the kind of lip liner color that you want with a lipstick and not worry so much about a lip liner. Or you apply a slightly darker one and you kind of smudge it with your fingers, and it just looks like it's a little bit more lived in, a little bit more natural. So this was my kind of like routine of different things that you can do to really elevate your makeup application, and I really do hope this has helped. There are so many different things that you can do. You can take whatever you want from this and honestly just kind of like implement that into your usual makeup routine and see how it looks and see what you know what you want to kind of add and what you don't want to add. It's completely up to you, but I really hope that you've enjoyed this today. It's something a little bit different, and I feel like these are all different tips and tricks that you could use. So I'm sending lots of love wherever you are in the world. Don't forget, I do have an online online publication called The Beauty Breakfast, love, where I'd love to see you there. I write all of the articles myself. There's 3 articles that go out every week. You can head on over there. It's an online magazine basically, and it covers everything: beauty, health, self, culture, just some chats and everything, some really interesting discussions. You do have the free version, which gives you access to most of the site, and then the paid version, which only costs around a coffee a month, and that gives you access to the full site. And what that means is that you get an extra newsletter, and you also get a little room where we can chat. So it's really, really cozy. We've got like the whole group of us that are in there, and it's really nice. So I would love to see you over there. If you like this video, please do give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell button so that you never miss any of my future videos. Until the next video, take care, and I'll see you soon.